at High Noon Leatherworks for another leather adventure, and today we're going to do a totally new project. I've never tried this before, but I thought I have got to try this and we'll see how it works together. So what I'm doing is I'm taking a piece of veg tan, about 9-10 ounce, and what I want to do is create my own patterns within the leather. So I'm going to attempt to do this, and I'll show you how I'm going to do it. We'll go through the process I'm going to try. We're going to unveil it and see if it works. So come on in and let's get started. Alright, so here's what I've got. I've got some water. It's just tap water. I've got that piece of veg tan leather. Went to a hobby store and went into the actual, believe it or not, I think it's called scrapbooking area, and I picked up a bunch of these laser cut gears and cogs. I picked up a bunch of those, a bag of them. I don't know, I probably don't have maybe $10 in all the stuff I bought. I bought some floral cutouts, and I bought all these keys. These keys are actually metal, and they were just assorted also in a package, like old skeleton keys and different designs. So those were the ideas that I had when I went in there and found those things. But I think what I'm going to try is I'm going to try these metal or gears and cogs. Obviously they're not metal, they're made out of wood, but they should have enough thickness. And I'd say they're probably a 1/16 of an inch thick to give me a pattern in this leather. So we're going to try it. We'll see how it turns out, and let's go ahead and move on and get this thing started. Alright, so the first thing I want to do is I want to get my leather good and wet. I want it to be nice and soft when I try to put this pattern or these images into it. I did buy these pieces of craft wood. They were real cheap, but they're, I don't know, they're like a little 1/8 of an inch thick piece of plywood, but it's real cheap, thin wood. That's why it's all glued together. But all I want that for is to keep some flatness to the whole thing, keep it nice and flat. Then I can put another piece on top, and then I'll put my weight on there. Now, there's two ways I thought about doing this. We'll see how this one turns out. Just using pure weight, no clamping or anything, just physical weight sitting on top of it. Or vacuum sealing it. So literally putting my leather on top of something stable, more stable, like this, that wouldn't let the vacuum sealer suck that leather in and keep it flat, and then it would vacuum down on the actual pieces that I put on to make my pattern with. I'm sure that would work. That is a lot more, I think, time consuming, but we'll see. We'll see if we need to go there, because this leather that I have in the water right now is, as you can see, is becoming very pliable. So I want to make sure that I get it as saturated with moisture as I can so that I get a good soft surface to get my impression in. And that's the reason that I'm not just casing the outside of it, but immersing it in water. I would do the same thing if I was wet forming. And basically that's what you're doing. You're just wet forming this image into the surface of the leather. So let's lay that down on that flat piece of thin plywood. Move my water out of the way. Now I've got my leather. Let's go ahead and take these gears and cogs and start randomly placing throughout this piece of leather. I'm not trying to hit the corner of it or anything, trying to be very careful. And there's no rhyme or reason to where I'm putting what. I'm just laying them down, trying to keep them where I don't have the same one close to one another. So we'll just keep randomly laying those down. And once we get an idea of the pattern that we want, and we get these cogs and gears where we want them, then we can go ahead and apply our weight to it. So I think that will get us where we want to be as far as a pattern that will work. So let's go ahead and put our second piece of wood on top so that we know we have a perfectly flat sandwiched area there. Then I'll take my stamping piece of granite, which is super heavy. I'll put it on top. Then I have a second one. This is the first one I bought years ago. And it's bigger and much heavier, so I'll put that on top also. Now, gravity and that weight, in theory, this is my theory, should press down and let those pieces of wood, of those gears, those cutouts, sink down into the surface of that soft leather. So we're going to let this set for several hours, probably at least 2 or 3 hours, and then we'll come back and I'll take this weight off and we'll show you the results. So we'll be right back. Alright, so it's been a couple of hours, so I'm going to start taking this weight off. Take these wood pieces off and let's see what we've got. The leather is still very moist. And as you can see, all those images that I laid on there are now impressed in the leather. So I can let that sit and dry now. And I've got my patterned leather. I could have used the keys, anything you want to put on there. I'm so glad this worked. And then that way you can make things out of your leather that's already got the patterns on that you want it. And you could use it for any theme that you wanted to. When you want to do a Western theme, or again, you could do the floral theme. So it just gives another avenue of a way to put images into the leather without doing stamping or carving. And it just gives you another thing that you can use in your little leather arsenal to do projects with. So it turned out pretty good. I'm very happy with it. And I'll use this on another project down the road. And I'll let this sit out and dry. And I appreciate you coming along. I appreciate you watching. And as always, please like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time.